Afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Dixie Zitlow. I'm the Director of Outreach for the Dibble Institute, and joining me today is Kathy Guidry, and she's our webinar organizer. Good afternoon, Kathy.
Hi, Dixie and everyone. I'm very excited to hear Vanessa today. She's got a great presentation for us.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Thank you. Before we begin, I would just like to go over a couple of housekeeping tips with you. If you experience any audio difficulties during the broadcast, please note that there's a phone number listed here, and the same was also in the link of your email connecting you to the webinar. In case of any audio issues, a reminder that you can call in and listen on the phone while viewing the broadcast on your computer. That does work. And we recommend also that you use earphones while connected to the broadcast. If you have any technical questions, you can send those inquiries through the question box that you'll find in your control panel on the right side of your screen there. And you can send those to Kathy, and she'll help you out with that. Today's webinar is a short 60 minutes, and there's some Q&A time built into the end of that, so you'll have an opportunity to ask Vanessa or any of us questions. If something comes to mind and you would like to and send that question in earlier, you can do that also. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Dibble Institute, let me tell you that we are a national nonprofit organization, and we are dedicated to equipping young people with skills and knowledge that they need to develop healthy relationships, whether they're romantic or otherwise. Here we have a picture of Charlie and Helen Dibble. Yes, there really is a Mr. Dibble. People ask us where that name comes from. Charlie Dibble was the founder, and he dedicated his retirement years to working with young people. And from them, he heard a lot of painful stories about their parents' relationship and relationship issues. So he decided to spend his last years helping young people learn skills that were necessary for successful relationships and or marriage. And we know that Charlie would be very proud of the work that is being done today by all of you. People that are new to us also ask us what it is that we believe. And we believe that healthy relationship education is for everyone, whether you're in a relationship now or have been in the future or hope to be one day. And it is our hope that through relationship education, young people today can build healthy relationships for their future. Our programs never assume the gender of a young person's partner, and we've written a variety of scenarios with input from young people that address all kinds of current relationship situations. Now, here's the question. Is healthy relationship education for disconnected youth? And the short answer is yes. Disconnected youth meaning runaway, those who have been cast aside by family or society, and sometimes the homeless. We know that 1.5 million teens fit into this category, and we know that they need help with the health of their relationships, whether, again, they're romantic or otherwise, and that this is key to learning about how to have healthier futures for them. Today we have with us Vanessa Mejia, and she is a public health professional from Long Island University. She has over 7 years of experience working with youth and is the manager of the Youth Services Program at Diaspora Community Services. This is a social service agency that empowers families and individuals. Their youth service program provides healthy relationship education and comprehensive adolescent pregnancy prevention, also known as CAP. Through the Domestic Violence Empowerment Initiative and the Verizon Foundation grants and FISBE Runaway Homeless Youth grants, Vanessa and her team at Diaspora strive to empower youth to build healthy relationships and to become leaders of tomorrow through educational workshops. And this includes using love notes and trainings received through organizations such as the New York City Mayor's Office to combat domestic violence, and along with You Are Not Alone Studios, LLC, Day One, and some others. So it is my pleasure to welcome Vanessa and thank her for sharing her expertise and experience with us today. Vanessa?
Thank you so much for the introduction, Dixie. Um, so today we will be speaking about modeling healthy relationship education with disconnected youth and how that here at Diaspora has been working along with other community-based organizations where we provide all of these services. Next slide, please. As Dixie has stated, Diaspora Community Services is a social service agency that empowers families and individuals to maximize their abilities to succeed through culturally sensitive health promotion, family support services, and advocacy. We have been around for over 30 years in Brooklyn, and we are committed to our clients and believe that by respecting and understanding their needs, we can strive to meet their expectations by providing effective and quality services. And as social service providers, we take pride in the noteworthy contributions of the diverse communities, and we are committed to the concept of partnership and integrity and equality for all. And as this, we bridge our clients by helping to advocate for their needs and supporting them on their journey to empowerment. And we serve a highly diverse population, which is what diaspora is all about. Next slide, please. So today, these are the learning objectives. So by the end of this webinar, each and every participant will be able to identify 4 characteristics of healthy relationship education, demonstrate at least one effective way to teach skills for a healthy relationship, identify one factor affecting healthy relationship education among disconnected youth, and learn at least one strategy for healthy relationship education. And all of these fall within the elements of the 4 characteristics of the foundation of healthy relationship, which includes respect, communication, trust, and physical and emotional safety that will be discussed later on today. Next slide, please. So disconnected youth are those young people who, through a combination of their circumstances, stage of development, and barriers to participation, are at risk of not achieving positive life outcomes. Next slide, please. Diaspora's youth focus and strategies focuses but is not limited to youth between the ages of 14 to 21 and incorporates positive peer motivation and mentoring. Through the lessons and activities that we have, these are stimulating, life-changing, and relevant to the interests of our youth today. And the strategies that we go forth to achieve these are youth work and community education. So our youth go out to the community to perform pure health education to young people just like them, and also participate in other street fairs such as health fairs, college health fairs at either community-based organizations or faith-based organizations. Next slide, please. Our youth engage um, engage to learn about dating abuse and healthy relationships, and to become active leaders in what it is dating violence prevention. Prevention and education programs work with community members to identify the strategies that promote healthy individuals, relationships, and communities. And these are provided through multi-session dating violence prevention education in schools and community settings such as faith-based organizations and other community-based organizations that we work with, such as Good Shepherd Services, Covenant House, and others. Next slide, please. So whenever we go out to do community outreach, our peer education supervisors, mentors, senior peer mentors, and youth workers go to our partner schools, and we also attend block parties. And through these, we offer our community members information, skills, and resources on dating violence and other issues affecting youth and young adults. Through informal community dialogues, workshops, and professional trainings, our youth share information about the dynamics of healthy relationships, dating violence, and domestic violence, and also referral strategies because these are important in order for our youth to get the help that they need. And through this is where we're going to come out to what the framework actually looks like. Next slide, please. So using a strength-based perspective allows us as as social service providers to look at youth not only as individuals in need of our support, but also gives us an opportunity to guide them so that they can make their own behavioral change. Intimate relationships may or may not have a negative impact in the lives of our young people. However, it is important to understand where our youth come from in order for us to better address the needs of each and every one of our participants. When working with disconnected youth, it is important for us to understand the walks of life of each and every one of our young people. Identifying the risk factors and the level they fall into on the spectrum allows us to properly approach the line of attack for each and every one of these. As we can see on the figure shown, our young people between the ages of 12 to 25 are vulnerable, whether it's through family, recreational, social, and cultural support. So, some of the risk factors that we can see within this are traumatic life events, which may be death of a family or friend, or difficulty with their peers, whether it's in school or outside within their community. Another risk factor, another disconnected youth framework would be experiencing additional problems, which requires early interventions, meaning we need to make sure that we pick up we pick up on the risk factors in order to address them immediately. And these may include low level truancy, first contact with the police, emerging mental health problems, experimenting alcohol and other drug use, family conflict, unstable peer group, or isolated from their community, or even those who are pregnant or teenage parents. When a youth is highly vulnerable, now this one here requires a comprehensive, coordinated intervention, meaning now we need to bring in social workers and other licensed mental health professionals or social service providers in order to address these needs. And these risk factors include but are not limited to those youth who have left home or are homeless, disengaged from family, significant alcohol or other drug use, not working or enrolled in education, those who are suffering from mental health, those who have frequent truancy and family violence, and or sexual abuse. Now, for those who are highly vulnerable, who fall on the high risk spectrum, are those who have co-occurring chronic problems such as alcohol and other drug use and mental health issues combined, criminal orders from youth or adult court, out-of-home care, and multiple high-risk behaviors. Now, it is very important that we, as social service providers, address each and every one of these. Now we're going to move into what we call defining healthy relationship education. Next slide, please. It is important for us because relationship education is a big umbrella. And with this idea, we give young people and even older the skills necessary to improve their current relationships and reflect on what did not work in their past relationship for their future one. We're basically looking at building skills to manage intimate relationships, teaching effective communication and interpersonal skills, keeping youth and young adults safe in relationships, and providing them with facts on sexual reproductive health and teaching them how to be their best in all contexts. In all there is no unanimous definition when it comes to healthy relationship education. When we ask our youth, they all come up with different ideas, and when it comes from our funders, every single funder has a different definition. So for us, um, defining relationship education is all about the ABCs, and the ABCs are awareness, balance, and choices. You're not able to move forward if you are not aware of the situation, know how to balance it, and then take forward to make the choice. Another thing with healthy relationship education is building skills to manage intimate relationships and keep youth and young adults in a safe relationship. Next slide, please. The goals of using healthy relationship education is to strengthen protective factors, assist young individuals to make wise relationship and educational choices, prevent partner violence, sexually transmitted infection, and pregnancy. Work to make sure that our young people know that in a healthy relationship, one must support each other's goals, decisions, and attitudes. As professionals working with youth, is important to recognize how essential developing relationship skills are to our young people. These are important in particular to our at-risk youth or disconnected youth because they are at a much more disadvantaged state. Right? We spoke about the risk factors earlier, and these risk factors is what leads them to become very disconnected, whether they have been involved in foster care, juvenile, runaway, or homeless. And many of us work with individuals who come particularly from the disconnected population. And within our programs, we do not necessarily teach the development of what it is to have healthy relationships. More so, we teach whatever it is that what we have been funded for. Next slide, please. Throughout our time, we have been using Love Notes, and Love Notes represents innovative approach to both pregnancy, sexually transmitted infection, and intimate partner violence prevention. It helps in building assets and strengthens the protective factors. So using what is around our communities in order to build on each and every one of our youth. It engages young people to learn more about themselves, supports young people in cultivating a vision for their future, empowers youth with skills necessary to form and maintain healthy relationships, make wise sexual decisions, and work towards their goals. It also offers our young people and including young parents knowledge of what a healthy relationship is and isn't. And this we see mostly throughout the activities. Next slide, please. And while using Love Notes throughout the 13 modules in the curriculum, there are lively activities that include real scenarios written by individuals who are within the same age group as the population served, which is extremely important as compared to like others. We have had very positive feedback in regards to activities that we have used with Love Notes, whether it has been the personality chart or using the flashcards with the communication or should I stay in a relationship or not? Or is this a healthy relationship? Through the activities and media based approach, we also have music videos, which are from the current mainstream. So we have Ludacris, we have Kelly Clarkson, Mary J. Blige, and we also have from movie clips such as Antoine Fisher, which in reality does play a major role in regards to Love Notes because it basically entails everything throughout the 13 modules. Throughout the skills building, our students are able to build great communication skills. It's great for critical thinking, assertiveness, and becoming an upstander, which is something that is essential to the work that we do here at Diaspora as well. Next slide, please. When looking for key themes in regards to healthy relationship education, it's always good to have a plan support. And the reason why I say this is because healthy relationship is surrounded by the things that I had stated earlier throughout the presentation: respect, physical and emotional safety, communication, and trust. If an individual does not have any of these throughout their participation with you, it is very hard for you to move forward with healthy relationship education. And as a developmental strategy, it's important to take a holistic approach in understanding of relationships when it comes to the benefits and the challenges. Next slide, please. Now, working with runaway homeless youth, the work that we do with our youth is unique, and it is very critical to ending relationship abuse among young people. Through this curriculum, our young people learn to recognize and change their destructive behavioral patterns before they are transferred to adult relationships. With our social workers on board, we are able to deliver an array of relationship services through four components: prevention, intervention, staff development and training, and community outreach. Through our Safe Teens Acting Responsibly program and peer education empowerment program, we provide the sexual reproductive health and the healthy relationship component, which incorporates the life skills necessary to engage and maintain healthy relationships. This program was developed in response to the growing awareness of violence in teen relationships. Now, as a fundamental provider, the characteristics that we all need to take into account is understanding our audience. And one of the things that we need to take into consideration is cultural sensitivity, especially when working with lesbian, gay, transgender youth, pregnant teens, and runaway homeless youth. Awareness of the issues affecting our youth today, and these are just some compared to the many that we have, which is alcohol and other drug use, sex trafficking, violence, educational disparity, economic and poverty shift, which is something that continues to grow. To address these healthy relationship issues, we have to ensure that our youth know exactly what it is that we're trying to do. So whether it is ensuring that we have a service plan with them, do some type of one-on-one counseling is what helps us with our youth every single day. Next slide, please. Now, our mission at Diaspora Community Services is to empower families and individuals. Now, in approach to health promotion and healthy relationship education, our line of attack includes empowerment, education, and behavior change. And the way we work to do this is we work with our participants and our communities to meet their perceived needs. So conducting a needs assessment of your community is essential in order for you to conduct your programming. Within the educational aspect, we look to increase knowledge and skills about the healthy lifestyles and relationships. And all of this is done through advocacy, networking, facilitation, exploration of the attitudes through small group work. And the relationship that we entail with our clients is that our health educators are the best with our youth. They they work with our youth one on one. They facilitate the workshops. Our participants become empowered, and they know how to negotiate with our youth in order to achieve our goals. So with next slide, please. So with behavior change, our aim is to encourage individuals to take responsibility for their own health and choose a healthier lifestyle. And through this, we have persuasion through one-on-one advice and also information. And the way that this is done is we have experts who come in from other organizations such as the New York City Mayor's Office to Combat Domestic Violence. You Are Not Alone studios. We have marriage and family therapists who come in and speak to our youth. And what we try to do is have our client not become as dependent, right? And also refrain them from the victim blaming ideology, which is essential to behavior change. Next slide, please. So our youth, they learn a lot throughout the time here. So through the curriculum, we ensure that our youth learn the social and emotional sides of sex, conflict management. So this has a lot to do with effective communication skills, how to deal with emotions, the warning signs of unhealthy and dangerous relationships, components of healthy relationships, and low risk dating strategies. But one of the most important ones, I believe, is the effective communication skills among parents, peers, as well as their partners. Next slide, please. Now, our educational tools, they are our guest speakers and our trainers. And through this, we have Safe Horizon, Day One, the New York City's Mayor's Office to Combat Domestic Violence, You Are Not Alone Studios, Youth Organizing to Save Our Streets, and Love Notes curriculum by the Dibble Institute. So next slide, please. Now here is my contact information. If you have any questions in regards to healthy relationships and reproductive health services, you can call or text our youth health educators at the number listed below, or you can send me an email. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vanessa. We have lots of time left, so if any of you have any questions about love notes or implementation, more about exactly what that looks like in their agencies and the different places that they're providing those services, just use your chat box in your control panel and type in your questions. Kathy, do you have any questions that have come in?
I don't have any questions right now. Vanessa must have done a great job, but we'll give everyone a few minutes. I know that you had a couple questions that you were interested in. Oh, hold on. Here's one right here. I appreciate it, Ben, you getting this in here. It says, do Diaspora peer educators offer staff trainings?
So our health we do. Hello. Yes.
Yeah, you're
So
here.
we do provide training to youth peer educators. We do not have like a specific center where we go out and train other individuals. We do have individuals from the New York City Mayor's Office to combat domestic violence who come to us. However, we do train youth from other schools.
Okay, Ben, does that answer your question, or do you have a follow-up with that? I'm guessing that answered his question. Thank you, Vanessa.
Okay.
We'll give a
Great.
few.
Vanessa,
Go ahead, Dixie. I'm
Vanessa,
sorry.
Vanessa, can you describe for us the venues, the different places where you're meeting your teens?
Yes. We have, for example, Good Shepherd Services is an after-school program located in one of the partner schools that we work at, which is Boys and Girls High School. And through this after-school program, we deliver an array of workshops, which includes healthy relationship education. So we have community-based organization after school. We have in-class settings. So during the week at schools, during class periods, we provide healthy relationships and sexual health education.
Okay.
And then are you guys also at a center of any kind, like a basic center for runaway homeless youth or anything like that?
And so those centers include Covenant House, which is located in New York City. We have individuals from the Door and Path. So these are youth that are part of our Runaway Homeless Youth program.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we have a number of questions that have come in, Dixie, if you'd like me to share with you
go
all.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. One question is, she actually has written two questions. Are adults trained to train youth? And how could we get this training in our area?
May you please repeat the question?
Are adults trained to train youth?
Yes.
Okay. And then she wants to know how you can get the training in her area.
Well, before Vanessa answers that, I'm wondering, does she mean in working with youth, or is she talking about relationship education training? I don't know who the young woman is that asked that question.
Yeah, Tadella, can you ask more about that? Relationship education training, she says.
So okay, so we provide training to our young people. Our young people come to our office. They receive the training, and we conduct peer health education outside of here. We yet do not have in place, but we are definitely are in the midst of expanding, and we'll soon be providing adult training for young people.
Okay. And Dixie,
and that adult training.
She said,
Go ahead, Kathy.
She said, thank you. And I'm thinking this might be something, too, that we can follow up with Tandela specifically for her agency as well.
Definitely send me an email.
Okay.
Yes. If she's talking about the training, maybe I can help clarify a little bit. If she's talking about the training that Vanessa and her team provide for the youth themselves, and then there's the training of the trainers, which is what I heard her ask.
Yeah, and she said she would send an email.
So, okay. So I'm sorry to confuse things.
No,
I'm not.
Okay. Another question from Danielle. Hi, Danielle. I know your name. What are your recommendations for when the youth are already engaged in the risky behaviors? What are the best techniques for redirecting that behavior and respectfully having dialogue around the unhealthy behaviors? Vanessa, I'm sure you run into this.
Yes. So one of the main things that we would do, and our health educators do best, is we meet with the youth one on one in order to come up with a plan to steer them away from that behavior. When in a group setting, these are not things that you should address with the youth at times, because youth may become defensive, or with the opinions of other youth, it may become a little bit heated within the workshop setting. So it's always important to address these outside of the workshop.
Okay,
So
great.
developing a plan to steer away this behavior.
Mhm.
Okay, and Carol would like to know, how does Diaspora identify individuals to provide peer counseling or training? Do you offer incentives?
Okay, can you
Pardon?
repeat that, Kathy? Because you
Surely.
were breaking up.
I'm sorry. How does
Mhm.
Diaspora identify individuals to provide peer counseling or training? And do you offer incentives to them?
We offer incentives to our youth in the after school programs, because after school is voluntary. During the school periods, we do not provide incentives because it's due that they are supposed to be in school during those hours. But to for in order for us to maintain retention, we usually provide a gift card after we have conducted the series of workshops.
And I guess, how do you choose the individuals that actually provide the peer counseling? Do you have a
Okay,
process
so
for that,
our
Vanessa?
yes. So those youth, they are referred to our office. Um, we usually recruit the students from our partner schools, or it's done through Snowball. So one of our core group members would invite someone they know, and that's how we continue on with this.
Okay. And Carol, if you have more questions, you might want to email Vanessa about that to clarify that a little bit more for you. Okay. Another question: can you please explain what low risk dating is?
Low risk dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, when it comes to low risk dating, what we basically identify as low risk dating is an individual who is dating someone who is not at a, how can I say this? Is not at a, hmm. It's when you don't do things. It's like you don't do things in public. That's what it basically is. So if, for example, if let's say let's say so first things first, right? So when you're when you're when it comes to teens and strategies, out of respect for your partner and for yourself, you should always let them know where you are going, um, showing respect to your date. Um, if you're a guy, you go to the door, you pick up your date, and you make a point to meet um, your partner's family. Um, another way to describe this is anyone who is not someone who is not someone who is making, how can I, okay, so I'm more explaining strategies to like low risk dating. Um,
Mhm.
if if
So
a youth,
if it's low risk, are they, let me ask it maybe in another way. If it's a low risk dating situation, you've just described that it sounds like respect, kindness, thoughtfulness. What skills will they have been learning that would help them to have a low risk dating situation?
so communication, physical and emotional safety, building trust. So all of those are like key elements to what we call low risk dating.
Mhm.
So having those positive aspects into a relationship. So committing. So knowing that you trust and you rely on the person. You're committing to a relationship, meaning that you have a good time with the person, you talk to the person, and you're able to communicate effectively with them, because
Mhm.
is one of the most important and is very successful in relationships. Um, touch. Now, this is the highest level, and you can reach this in any relationship. So, touching means that there is nothing that you want to hide from your partner. So, this is what low risk dating also entails. So, not allowing not allowing your partner to touch you if you've passed through like the four stages of like the knowing part. So, knowing your partner very well before moving on to a next step, trusting them and the ability to rely on them, and also just like saying that you have been committed.
Great.
So the opposite of low risk dating is high risk dating, and that would look like.
So high risk dating would then be, I'm, oh, let me check your Facebook. Who are you texting? Let me check your text messages. So doing things that has not been communicating, so something that would hurt you and or your partner. So, dating at times can be very challenging, and if you don't have a strategy on how to follow up, with whoever you want to date, it's going to create a tension there. So you're carrying out a dating plan that you have not discussed with your partner. And so that's why it's important to become aware of the situation, you know, and and making good choices in order to not engage in any type of physical, emotional, or verbal type of abuse,
Right.
which is considered high risk dating.
Great. Well, I have a few questions, and that kind of leads us into love notes, because I know you're using love notes to teach our youth and share with our youth how to have low risk dating situations. So, one of these questions is, can you explain more about how you've implemented the Love Notes curriculum in your programming? And also, another question kind of goes along with that. Do you teach in a specific area, or are you teaching in all the boroughs? Exactly where are you doing your work right now?
We specifically teach in North and Central Brooklyn, which consists of Bedford Stuyvesant, Crown Heights, East New York. So our youth come from these neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and we we implement the curriculums throughout the time that we are at the school. So through the memorandum of understanding the memorandum agreement that we have with our schools, we let them know, well, it is stated that this is what we are going to implement. And so, um, one thing that I can say that throughout the modules that we have presented to our youth, it's best when we do them in a smaller setting, and what we try to do is we try to have a circle based, just to have our youth feel much more comfortable with one another. We try to not make it as if we are dictating within the classroom setting, because we find that when students feel that they're about to go into another subject, they don't pay as much attention as to when they're sitting in a circle and or feel that they are within a small community space.
Oh, great. Okay, so
About how long are each of your sessions?
Our sessions are about 50 minutes long.
Okay, great. Okay, so since we have about 3 questions specifically about the Love Notes curriculum, how to purchase it, where to find more information about it. I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit, and then Dixie, if you want to follow up as well. You can go to our website at dibbleInstitute.org, and you can go under our programs, and you can specifically click on Love Notes. You'll get bunches of information about Love Notes. You will get a free sample lesson from our Love Notes curriculum, so you can see the wording and kind of how a whole lesson and then activities from that lesson as well. Let's see. Dixie, you might want to talk a little bit about this. Someone asked, can it be purchased? Yes, it can be purchased. We also have great, let me say, student journals that go along with those that you can purchase for students or for your little group. They are great complementary and supplementary lessons that go with whatever the instructor's manual has you facilitating from. Another question here is, can it be facilitated by adult counselors? Of course, yes. Dix, do you want to talk a little bit about how they can either, pick up Love Notes and use it, or how you might get a trainer into their area if they wish, that kind of thing?
Yes, yes, I'll do that. And then if Vanessa, if you have anything to chime in on how you uh, came to it and are using it, like, how you find it, personally, because I think you've actually taught out of it, if I remember correctly. So Love Notes is what's called a Teach Out of a Box program. You can pick it up. It's written very well. It was written by Marlene Pearson, and you would be able to open this binder and literally follow a script, and it's got, like, suggested number of minutes for different activities, and it's very activity driven. There's very little of the here, let me tell you how this goes. It's more like having a conversation, doing an activity, debriefing that activity, letting them think about it, follow up with the journal so that they have a way of processing that and making it their own. I taught this program numerous times in my past as well, and have found that when young people from a variety of backgrounds use this, they get through it and come back to me and say, can I do it again? Because they don't know what they don't know, and by the time they get through it, they think, okay, now I really want to do this again. And it really opens some very positive doors for them, really empowers them in a lot of great ways. As far as trainings go, also when you go to our website, if you go under services, there's a little link for trainings, and this is a new page for us. We have on-site trainings to this fall, actually. One is going to be in Maryland in the end of October, and the other one is in November in Columbus, Ohio. And then we could also come to your site and train. And so those are several different ways that we can do this with you. So look at those and feel free to either contact me or Kathy about that. And Vanessa, do you want to follow up with anything about how, when you picked up the binder, how was that for you? Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hi. When you picked up Love Notes for the first time, how did you find it to use?
It was very heavy first, but yes. So it was very interesting. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
um the first thing that I looked at when I saw the box was all of the activities, like all like the small journal, like the journal, um, the videos that it came along with the brochures. That was the first thing that I looked at before I looked inside of the binder. But when I
Mm-hmm.
looked into the binder, one of the things that really caught my eyes were the activities that
Mm-hmm.
were placed in there, because it, although there's in the instructional method, the activities themselves give much more of an insight in regards to what the youth learn. So it makes it even much more interactive.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had positive feedback from our youth, honestly speaking, in regards to these activities. And with these, just by able to create flashcards from some of those in the appendix, and being able to speak about what do certain words mean, what do certain words, phrases mean in relationships, and is that a good or a bad thing? For example, honesty. Is honesty good or bad in a relationship? Some people may say it's good to a certain extent. Others may say, of course, honesty is good. We should all be open and honest with our significant other. When it comes to communication, or being tender and being loving. And so having activities like these ensure that our youth are actually learning, but putting into practice what it is that they're learning, and are also able to look into their own relationship and compare it to what it is that they're learning, and actually work on during a class session what it is that they need to work on for their relationship to make it
Mhm.
better, or to change things, or to modify things within their relationship or within themselves, which is how behavior change starts. You must start with
Mhm.
yourself in order to
Right.
just.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that I first drew me to Love Notes when I first came across it years ago, was that it starts with the individual, who you are, your strengths, your desires, and moves outward into your relationships and then what is healthy. So there are building blocks there. While the lessons would stand alone, they definitely build on one another. You also work with parenting and pregnant teens. Have you found that this impacts both their relationships with parental, the child's other parent, whether the parents are together or not? Has there been anything there?
We are currently working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're currently working on that with our youth, with our pregnant youth.
Mhm. Mhm. Miss Kathy?
Yeah, and Dixie, the other thing I wanted to follow up with that, if anyone is interested in viewing the entire curriculum, if you will email me, I can give you a access to a free 30-day digital copy of that if your organization wants to look at it in more detail. So just email me at Kathy with a C at dibblinstitute.org, and I'll be happy to get that information, that access information to you. So,
Okay.
and
Do you have any other questions?
I think we've got all of the questions. The only other question I think we might answer, I didn't hear back from the gal that I asked. How the question was, how do you actually get into the schools, or how do you work with the schools and get their approval and whatnot to actually teach the curriculum?
Sure, sure.
I'm not
We
sure if you
have
answered that or not.
as part of our team, we have a parent community access coordinator who works with the parent coordinators at the schools. We have our health educators and myself who um, go and make it to meet the principal and or assistant principal. And with that, we create a memorandum of understanding. We also, so one of the main things is because although we have district superintendents, it is feasible to go to the school principals themselves in order for them to give us direct access to go into the classes.
Oh,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
And the teachers are welcoming of that?
The teachers are very welcoming, I should say.
Mhm.
They
Very
are
good.
very, very welcoming.
Okay.
If anyone else has any
Um,
other questions, you might want to take a couple seconds here and type them in. If not, Dixie, I think we're through with the questions on this end.
I have one question before we wrap up, and that is, Vanessa, do you have an example that you'd like to share with us of um, a youth where you saw a marked change of behavior or their attitude? I mean, and it was significant. Maybe they came and talked to you, or they wrote about it, or you just noticed it. Um,
Actually, all of our, I can say that with all of our youth, we have seen changes, whether it has been extremely remarkable or just remarkable. Every month when we meet with our youth, you know, through the intensive conversation that our health educators have with them, who are also their counselors, we are able to see the changes in their behavior. And just by working with them one on one and just getting to know what it is that's bothering them, or the issues that they're going, whether it's with their family or with their peers, we are able to develop a plan to help them overcome those issues.
mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
great.
we have a few more questions. Do we have time, Dixie?
Yep, we've
Okay.
got, I think, 5 minutes
These are some really good
or so.
questions. Yes, exactly.
Good.
Carol wanted to know how Diaspora is funded. Are you funded with Healthy Marriage funding, or funded by any federal grants?
And so for this specific one, the Verizon Foundation and the Domestic Violence Initiative,
Okay.
also known as DOVE.
Hmm.
Okay.
And what about FISB's Runaway Homeless Youth Grant?
And so those are through the Department of Youth and Community Development.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, Sue Ann has a couple questions here. Talking about the schools, have you experienced any pushback from the schools regarding implementation of the program? Say, did you try to go to a school and they, kind of said no? If so, how did you handle the situation? Or have you had anything come up with the schools?
To be honest, we have not.
Wow, that is great.
We have established a very good relationship with our partner schools, and one thing that we do is because we give them an overview prior to they are able to either accept it or not, and for the most part, we have had great success. Those schools that we have established relationships with have been open arms with us.
Okay. Another question is, do you use surveys and follow behavioral changes long term when working with the youth?
Pardon?
Do you use any surveys or follow up or do any follow up, long term follow up with any of the youth that are in the programming?
Very interesting. I was speaking about that today with a colleague in regards to doing long-term follow-up surveys. We usually do these follow-up surveys right after we we finish the curriculum. So, in order for us to determine behavior change in the long term, that is something that we need to begin to implement very soon.
Okay, great. Um, how good or high is the retention of youth in their program when it's facilitated outside of the schools? Yeah. Can you answer
I did
that,
not
Vanessa?
hear.
I'm sorry. How good or high is the retention of youth in the program when it is facilitated outside of the schools?
It's actually really good. And I think the reason why is because we provide incentives and we feed them.
Oh, well, I think that
Food's always a good draw.
exactly. I think that's all the questions that we have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for taking your time and sharing with us that really good work that you're doing in Brooklyn. For those of you that are listening, again, typing in your questions, if they're directly to Vanessa, we'll make sure those get to her. And if they're more general, we'll be happy to answer those too and follow up with you. And the work that all of you are doing out there is invaluable, and we thank you for that as well.
Yeah. And we're getting a
I
lot of
wanted to
thank yous, Vanessa. A lot of thank yous for what you did. So
Oh,
just to let you know that.
Well,
thank
thank
you. Great.
you.
All righty.
This, as I mentioned before, at the end of October, we have a training in Germantown, Maryland, and then in November, one in Columbus, Ohio. And you'll see a link there on your screen. If you just go to the dibblinstitute.org and go under services to training, you can follow how to take advantage of those trainings. And if you're interested in training at your site for your team, we do that also. And if you have any questions about that, just feel free to give us a call and chat with us, and we would be happy to answer those questions for you. There's going to be a short survey after we log off here today. We would really appreciate you answering those questions. It helps us to understand what you need and want and how we did so that we can keep getting better. And then next month, October, it's hard to believe that it's already October. October 14th, we will be having a webinar called Relationships Matter, Developing Social and Emotional Intelligence Skills for Success at Home or at Work and at Home. And our speaker will be Kay Reed, who's the Executive Director of the Dibble Institute. So I'm sure you're going to want to sign up for that and hear her presentation on that. I want to thank everybody again for joining us today, and in contacting us, you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. The 800 number is there for you to be able to call us, You can subscribe to our newsletter, which is always full of information on anything upcoming, research, grant information. We like to share that with you, and your information is safe with us. We do not share that with anyone else. So with that, I want to thank you, Kathy, for organizing today, and Vanessa for you taking time to present about the good work that you do. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Okay. Bye.